What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first collection update video. If you've watched my previous video, you would know that I have made the decision to, I guess, abandon 5th edition. It's just not for me, and there's no point pining after an old edition while playing one that I don't enjoy or don't get the same feel, warm fuzzies out of or whatever, when I can just still play the old one. So I've started collecting again. And to recap, if you're new to seeing me on YouTube, obviously I don't have many subscribers and I'm not like a big YouTuber, but I used to have quite a large AD&D collection, primarily 2nd edition stuff. There was some 1st and AD&D in there, and a few of the nice little other things like the real encyclopedia and all those kinds of things. But anyway, I ended up having to sell that during COVID, which sucked. Every time I see memories pop up on my phone and stuff, and I see, my bookshelf with all that, it breaks my heart. But anyway, that's life. That's what happens. I'm back on the TSR crack cocaine addiction, and the last 2 days I've gone to. So there's a comic book shop down here, or business, and they have 2 separate stores. I was scouring eBay, like trying to figure out where do I start, trying to get the most bang for buck, because that's what we want. This stuff is getting harder and harder to get. The prices keep going up, so I want to try to get as much as I can within the money that I spend. So I already have gone over what I wanted to spend for the month. But the things were local in the sense I could drive there. I didn't have to pay postage, and I managed to get the price down. Like, I would have liked to have paid a little bit less, but when you're used to paying like bugger all for stuff before the collecting craze sort of took off, especially with COVID, you look at the prices now and it's a bit hard to swallow. But like, let's face facts, it's 2024. This is what the stuff is sort of going for. Their prices were a bit more inflated, but once I did some haggling, and I basically got it down to 30% off the prices that they had on the books, which is sort of the standard sort of eBay offering, or in RPG sale groups here in Australia. So I think I did alright overall. And some of the stuff I got is really, really in good condition. There's a guy that sold trading his whole collection, so he had novels as well. So I got like these like Time of the Dragonlance Legends trilogy, and I've got to see if this is original printing, because this thing, like, the pages are still sort of yellowing in there. This isn't AD&D stuff, obviously. I'm just sort of having a look, but if this is the original printing, this thing, like, the covers are just immaculate. They're contacted and that. They're absolutely beautiful. I don't know whether the reprints retained like the advertisements in the back for like Pearls of Radiance and stuff, but man, immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. So I'm very, very, very happy to get that. I already own these. I started collecting the Dragonlance novels, but these things were just such good condition and such good price. So with the 30% off, these two were $10 each, and then the volume 3 was like $6 something. But anyway, you're here to see Dungeons and Dragons stuff, so this is in no particular order. It's just how it's sitting on the shelf at the moment. I'll just move my bloody hat there so I can put stuff there. So first lot is the stuff I got through yesterday. So one of my favourite things about 2nd edition was all the stuff got made. And one of my absolute favourite things are the ye old brown splat books. And particularly the Wizards one. So I had I guess very much a habit, and Dragonlance is very much to blame for this, of almost always playing a mage. I just, and it's still to this day, I'm very enamoured with like Raceland Magier, the character. So I remember going to Toy World, which was like a chain of toy shops here in Australia, and seeing this on the rotating rack and wanting it so bad. My mum was a big sucker for the Satanic Panic, so I thought Dungeons and Dragons was not good. It of course did not dissuade me in the slightest, and if anything, it probably made me like the game even more than I already did. So yeah, I mean, this thing's in mint condition, so there's tons of these splat books for characters and races, and then if you're not familiar of them, there was a fantastic. People talk about WotC like making a book after book after book after book. Second edition AD&D, there is absolutely shitloads. I actually have a spreadsheet. I won't bring it up on the screen. I have a spreadsheet of all the stuff that was created for second edition. So that's just like rule books, accessories, like you get like decks of like the magic items, all those sorts of things, modules, box sets, the whole lot. I think it's 647 separate things. So when people talk about WotC printing heaps, they're probably never going to approach, or maybe they have. I haven't kept track. There is a lot of 5th edition stuff. I only have the 3 core rule books, and I have the Dragonlance book because I love Dragonlance. So, but anyway, the Wizard's Handbook, very, very awesome. Probably my second favourite character class is the Thief. So back in AD&D, rather than just being a rogue and then there's subsets, we actually had the classes separate. Like so Thief was a class, like Bard was a separate class. We didn't just sort of go rogue and then use like proficiencies or skills or talents or whatever to go over and over, that sort of thing. But I loved playing a Thief. I used to play with this dude, and he used to play thieves all the time, and he used to say that he was a traveling locksmith. It was so he did it so well because he was a bit of an oddball. So he was like this really like sort of odd thief. It made me always made me laugh. So thieves are good. So in addition to like the brown splat books, there are a few other colours. So the blue splat books, and splat books is a nickname these were given. It wasn't like an official TSR term. So the blue splat books were for Dungeon Masters basically, and there's a whole heap of different ones. There's a really good arms and equipment guide. So that really expands on the weapons that are available in like the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide. All different, more varieties of swords and spears and more exotic weapons and stuff. So, definitely there's like a creative campaigning one which is absolutely brilliant. Really good resource for Dungeon Masters who want to build. But anyway, this is the first one that I've managed to reacquire. The most expensive one of these is the There's the one for Necromancers, and it's the most pricey of all. I used to have it, of course. Don't have it anymore, but we'll get it back there one day. Back to the brown, or I don't know, burgundy, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of these were printed multiple times, so some of them have more of a reddish cover, or a more textured cover. I like this print. I don't know what number printing this is, but these are the ones that I sort of know and love the best. And again, these books are just in fantastic condition. I know it's very hard to see. I really suck at holding these up in front of the camera. So, you know, this is the Priest one. And this is usually one of the cheapest ones. I think the Wizards and the other one. No, these were all $70, but I got 30% off, so they got it down to a more reasonable. So the $40-50 is usually pretty standard here in Australia for these, and I'm not paying postage, so... But again, I mean, this guy, and I think his name was Edmund Rummerson, because I saw his name written in one of the other books. Edmund, you're an absolute legend for keeping this stuff in just such great condition. If you ever are touring around YouTube and you come from southeast Queensland in Australia and you see this and recognise it, mate, hats off to you, buddy. The last black book that I've got here is the Complete Fighter's Handbook. So these books, so Fighter is obviously a character class. I'm looking here instead of looking at the camera, but what these does is basically they have things that they're called kits essentially. So instead of just being, oh, I'm a fighter, there's specific types of fighters, and some of them are really, I guess you would say, more eclectic versions of fighters. So I'm a special type of fighter that I came from here. Like, I'd say barbarian, but there actually is a barbarians book, but you can imagine not all barbarians are the same. They come from different regions, different abilities, blah blah blah. That's what the kits are in here. So there's different types of fighters. Some of it is a really like sort of flavoursome, just gives a character a bit more flavour, like but different abilities, different weapon proficiencies, that kind of thing. So it gives players the ability to, I guess, select from a wider... People might want to play a fighter, and a fighter's like a great character to start when you first start playing AD&D. It can be pretty ruthless, AD&D, and I will be making a video on why, not to shit all over 5th edition, but why I like 2nd ed better. So again, these are a great resource. And the thing with all these sort of books, it doesn't really matter what edition you play. Like, you can take ideas from these books, or I could buy like a 5th edition book about something and steal things out. Obviously, the rule set is different, so you would have to convert back and forth or whatever, but there's always sources for inspiration around. So we're back into some of the more sort of core rule books. So the Tome of Magic, Tome of Magic. Well, I don't know why I said Tome. So this was an additional book to the core rule books. It has a bunch of like extra spells for. It does priests as well. Magical items as well. Hardcover again. This thing is in fantastic condition. Like, none of the corners are really dented or bent or whatever. The pages inside are nice and crisp. Will I use all these stuff running a game? Probably not, but my plan is, whatever it is, 647 items, my plan is to get every single one. So if I don't have it, I need it. Player's Handbook doesn't need much of an introduction. You'll see there's a few different versions of this in 2nd ed. So this was, when they talk about D&D 1 being like a 5.5, a lot of people think, oh yeah, because there was like 3.5, but before 3.5 there was 2.5. So the rules didn't change. These books with the black covers and that were just way better organised material and a lot more logical orders. If you've tried to create, and this is one of the things I hate about like the 5th ed Player's Handbook, character creation sucks using it out of the book. Like, there's a lot of flipping back and forth, and I don't feel like it's a logical order. They absolutely nailed it in this one. Very, very easy just to go through and create a character that, oh, where do I go next? Blah, blah, blah. So, They also did a re-release of these in a fancy green cover, which I used to have too. The prices on those have skyrocketed here in Australia. I don't think you can get one for under $200, which sucks, but it's on the list to get. So continuing with the black bordered theme, so this is high level campaigns. I don't know how high any of you guys have ever run a character up level wise, but I think this does like levels like 20 to 30. So if you ever gotten that far, bloody good on you. I've never gotten a character that far ever. Unfortunately, I suffer from the curse of once you're a DM, you're always a DM. So 80-90% of my Dungeons and Dragons gaming, I'm the Dungeon Master and I never get to play. And that's probably going to continue, especially with AD&D. If I want to do AD&D, I'm going to have to run it myself. But we're going to talk about that in a future video, because I do want to do a campaign, and considering how hard it is to find AD&D players, I'm going to try to run one online. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. So this was a Dungeon Master option. So there's player options, so combat and tactics. This is just more rules to enhance combat. Now, combat in AD&D, again, I think is better than 5th edition. You've probably all heard of the saying, chess are not checkers. I think combat in AD&D is much more rewarding. The capacity is there to really think about it. Now, there can be a lot of rules crunch, I guess, if you want to, and that depends on the DM and how they run that. People are too worried about combat slowing things down. It can be run exciting and using things like weapon speed and all that. You know, it's not just like, oh, I roll initiative, so I go next. Like, I could have a better initiative, but it takes me a lot longer to swing like a bastard sword for than you to go bang with a knife, sort of thing. So again, it does make you think. I do think the combat is superior. It's not that hard. We'll get into the THAC0 thing if you're not familiar. But again, I just can't get over how great a condition these books are. Except for this one, and it's not in great condition, but I got it anyway for completeness sake. I'll definitely be looking to upgrade this one. So, Dungeon Master's Guide, you'll see that it is not a black bordered one. So this is like the first printing, and there's a player's handbook that matches this art. It doesn't have as good as organisation as those blackboard. How said how they sort of restructured it a bit, but you got to have it. This has got the really classical blue printing in it. Not this exact copy or whatever, but this is the very first 2nd edition book I ever got, that I ever bought for myself. I started playing in '87. 2nd edition came out in '89, so. But I think this came out in 1990. I want to say. Oh, it says 1989. I can't remember exactly, unfortunately, but this is what started the Grim DM journey. Another player's option book. So this is skills and powers. So these are like additional ability scores in this. So everyone, you have like normal sort of abilities or skills based on your abilities. So these things talk about, so rather than just having strength, have you got like stamina, or there's your dexterity, but how good is your balance? All these sort of... So, again, player's option. These are optional rules. As a player, you could come to me as your DM and say, I want to use this and that. Some things I won't allow. There is like the whole min-maxing thing with people like are too entrenched in video game gaming and want to apply that sort of logic to tabletop RPGs, and they just want to have the best stats. They want to be on like God mode. It's like everyone wanted to play a drow. They wanted all the benefits of being a drow with like dexterity and all that, but didn't want any of the negatives. And then if you would let them play a drow, so in the Complete Elves book, the Splat book, there's a class called a Blade Singer, which is basically like two-hand, like a drow, but not a drow. So if I sensed players were like that, I would really sort of like put the skids on that. Like, you're not just going to try to just come up. And you can make your character as powerful as you can within the rules. I'm still a DM. I can still lay the smack down, and I don't like DMs that just go on a mission to be jerks to players and not make it enjoyable. But players who carry on with the min-maxing and all that don't make it enjoyable to DM for, or ruin it for the rest of the party, because they're, I'll do this. The other party don't get the chance to participate in any of the heroics of the adventure. So, but again, all brilliant ideas. All these things can be used to like enriching the player experience, make them really, instead of like everyone just rolling a fighter and it's all the same. Or in 5th edition, I'm a warlock and I'm gonna, what is it? Was it Eldritch Blast or whatever the spell is? Or these let people make their characters their own, so they're really awesome. Okay, how long have I been going here? I feel like I've been talking for bloody ages. Holy shit, 22 minutes, Jesus, righto. Let's get a boogie on. So I've got some more resources here now. So this is country sites. I've never actually had this one before. I had 2 others similar, which I do have down here. So these just have little like locations, stuff that you can drop into your own campaign, your own city. Again, always inspiration here. And when you have all these different books and modules and adventures and all that, you don't need to, like some DMs, and I do it a lot, we'll draw our own maps, create our own things or whatever. Some people find that a bit harder and they just want to collect material and run the game. All the stuff is awesome. I can take things from here, take things from a Dragon magazine or a Dungeon magazine, a module, from any edition, drop it into your own campaign world or your own adventure, and keep on rolling. So country sites for that one. And then we've got castle sites. Designing a castle and that can seem like, pardon me, quite a big task, but you've got all these things to break it down. They have like, if I hold this up right, they have things like this, maps that you can just straight up copy. Do not draw in your books, for the love of God. Oh man, the pages on this are just so wide and crisp. It's so good. This thing has all the maps already done. Go photocopy this, drop the notes in, or scan it, or whatever you're going to do. You can do it, I have faith. I really encourage people to DM. There's so much you can do. So now we've got city sites. Again, the same thing. I need to come up with a tavern, a cemetery, a blacksmith, all that. All these things you can put together. A couple of hours on an evening thumbing through one of these books, I'm sure you'll find some inspiration. This is a great one. I've used this one before. So this is world building. So none of us. I mean, I don't think I'd ever be as great as someone like Ed Greenwood, who created Forgotten Realms, but I love homebrew. That's one of the reasons I love DMing. This is a great book for that. Let's start making some maps. Let's start developing our own country. And I mean maps of cities, maps of continents, mountain ranges, forests, all that. Man, and this is why I love A&D. It is so exciting, just all the material. I just don't get the... and part of it's nostalgia, of course. I just do not get this feeling from 5th edition. Chronomancer. So this... I don't think I've had this before. I don't think I own this one before. So, obviously, if we read at the back, these few wizards are Chronomancers, and in this optional 96-page AD&D game, accessory reveals the secrets of their lives, new spells, new powers, So there's all different type of magic users. Chrono is obviously related to time. You see him jumping through the portal there, so I'm really looking forward to giving this a read. And now we've got some campaign world-specific books to finish it off, and one of the absolute most popular ones is Ravenloft, the horror-themed one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these books here. So Van Richten's Guide to the Ancient Dead. I've had a few Ravenloft things, not a lot though. Most of my stuff was Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms, to be honest, but Ravenloft is insanely popular, and the bloke that traded in his collection had a lot of Ravenloft, so I dare say it was a favourite of his. Again, the conditions of these are just so good. So anyway, Van Richten's Guide to the Ancient Dead. I'm fluffing more on about 2nd edition than just showing the book, so I apologise. So another Von Richten's Guide, and this is the Von Richten's Guide to Fiends. So, all these books are flavour, giving you additional monster types. There's just so many monsters. There's different, monstrous compendiums for the different settings, plus the monster manuals. Forged of Darkness. So, what is this one? Forged of Darkness presents players and Dungeon Masters with a collection of magical items, each which carry a distinctive taint of the demi-plane of dread. So, makes sense. Forged of Darkness. So these are magic items and stuff that are specific to Ravenloft. And what a cover! He's got the big meat hook there, and is that a priest? It looks like this priest is about to get it. I'm trying not to swear. I swear a lot. I'm Australian. That's what happens. Van Richten's Guide to the Visanti. So the Visanti, I believe, are the gypsies. So they're like the gypsy tribes of Ravenloft that get around. They're a very integral part of that real sort of Eastern European, Romanian sort of feel. Romania, aka Transylvania. And the last one here is the Book of Crypts. So this actually has 9 short adventures. So nice little adventures. So if you're struggling to put something together, you don't have to be running Ravenloft. You don't have to run any particular campaign setting, but you want a quick little adventure, get them to go into a graveyard or a haunted house or something like that. All these sorts of things. Brilliant. So, that is the very first collection update video for my return to my beloved 2nd edition. So, if you watched to the end of this video, I very, very much appreciate it. I don't want to sound like the typical YouTuber, like, comment, and subscribe and all that, but I love answering people's comments on videos. I love to have the discussion about this stuff. If there's any stuff in here you thought was cool, let me know. If you want to talk about AD&D 2nd edition, I am all ears. I've got a few videos that I want to do. Probably going to be in a couple of weeks' time now with family visiting and whatnot. So I'm gonna do one video talking about the reasons why I prefer AD&D over 2nd edition, over 5th edition. Just my reasoning, and you have to agree with that, and that's fine. I don't really care what version of Dungeons and Dragons you play, as long as you and your friends are having a good time. That is the most important thing. Collection update videos. I am on a salary with my job, so I get paid monthly. So it'll probably be once a month, unless like some sort of like bargain pops up in the meantime. But I will do mailbag videos or haul videos, whatever you want to call them. Again, thanks for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.